Everyone, it's Vinyl, and welcome back to another JJS video. So first of all, thank you for the absolutely insane support on the last one. Even if even if the comments, I'll agree to disagree, but thank you for the amazing support on the last one. I have never seen so much growth and positive reception on my channel, so I really just want to appreciate all of that. But today we are going to get into the vessel. More specifically, I think the vessel needs to be changed. I think the vessel needs to split, like here and now. The vessel does not need to be one singular kit anymore. I feel like that's hurting it a lot. So I'm going to talk about two different kits, a Yuji kit and a Sukuna kit, both of which I don't have them fully ironed out, but I have kind of the basic idea. The Yuji kit will mostly be keeping the same base, but will have its own awakening. The Sukuna kit will be all brand new. I don't know how long this video is going to be because I'm literally saying this as I start it, but we're going to find out. So first off, we're going to go over Yuji and how he would work. I forgot to say this, so I'm prefacing this super quick as well. This does not necessarily mean that I want the vessel to be deleted. I feel like the kit could stick around and these could just be two new separate kits. I would assume that the new Yuji kit would be called Empty Vessel, and I don't know what Sukuna would be called. Maybe he would be called the King of Curses, and the Awakening for Vessel would change or something like that. But either way, I don't want the deletion of the vessel. I just feel like they deserve new kits. First of all, for both kits in the video, there will be manga spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled by the manga, I do not recommend watching this video. But let's go over Yuji. So my kind of idea is his base kit would be pretty much the same. And I have two different ideas for how his awakening could work. One idea is I would love to see him have a super awakening like Mahito, but that's what I was originally going to develop for this video. But the problem ended up being I couldn't exactly figure out what I would want the middle kit to be. I knew that I wanted it to be Shibuya Yuji, but I didn't know all the moves I could add, so I did transfer one of the moves that I really liked over to the full kit, but other than that, it's nothing special. It's about the same as I would expect. But yeah, so his base kit would be about the same, but I would like a Slaughter Demon variant, or maybe some just other form of variant for Curse Strikes or any other move where maybe you use Curse Strikes, feint it, and then if you use Curse Strikes immediately after, it will do some other kind of move. My thought would be it would be like an unblockable slash with Slaughter Demons, so it would punish people for trying to block Curse Strikes. Because obviously Yuji is pretty good against block, but I feel like it would be nice to have that extra little, that side swipe, that gimmick, just in case you needed it. But overall, I think it would be about the same. Now, Yuji's awakening, little different. It's not fully ironed out because I know some of this isn't completely accurate, but this is my overall idea right now. So the one would retail to Piercing Blood, but a grab version of Piercing Blood. So how it would work is, if you remember from the manga, when they were fighting, he ended up using Piercing Blood right against Sukuna's face. My thought is he would grab on, he would kind of jump forward and then grab onto the opponent, kind of similar to how Gojo grabbed onto Sukuna during their domain clash. And he would just fire, and you would just fire the Piercing Blood straight at their face, and then you would kick them away, maybe a little short combo afterwards. It'd be unblockable because it'd be you'd grip and then fire, so it'd be unblockable, and it would just be kind of a nice little move, I'd say, and it wouldn't be too bad. Two would be Cleave. His Cleave would work in two different ways. There would be the regular version and the variant version. I don't have a fully ironed out way on how you would select either, because my thought is that you would use it and you would either land the move and it would be kind of like a regular Cleave, just a little different. Don't know exactly how yet. I don't have this one as ironed out. I apologize for that. I thought a lot about the 10 Shadows one, but this one was troubling me a little bit more, so I tried to kind of figure it out, but I got what I got. So you would have the Cleave Throw as a variant. So how it would work is if you miss the move, or maybe if you feinted the move, I don't know, but if you use the move and you miss, maybe you would grab the ground, and then you would touch the ground, touch the wall, whatever was nearest to you. You'd see the scissors show up, that show up for Yuji, and you grab that chunk and you throw it probably closer to Maharaga level would be my assumption. I would want it to be pretty strong. But cleave would also need to be balanced enough to do kind of the same thing. Maybe cleave throw would be blockable, but if you fucked up the block, it would do like an insane amount of damage. Third would be vicious clawing, which would be kind of like her strike, like just kind of like another grab move. And it would be based off of when he was fighting Sukuna and he started clawing into him and just gnawing into him. So you grab, probably just claw the hell out of them, and then maybe punch them away with a black flash as part of the move, because obviously Yuji can use black flashes pretty well. So I don't think it's hard to, remove the need for a skill-based black flash for just one of Yuji's moves, but it would be more of an effect than it would be an actual move. But next, and finally, not really finally, but kind of finally, his 4 would be a maximum black flash. This is the one I'm most proud of. This is the move I really thought of. And maximum black flash, you would hold to charge it, and you would go into the pose he used to charge against Mahito, and you would hold the move, you would charge it, and when you let go, you would dash in the direction you were facing, and you'd unleash the black flash. If at maximum charge, my thought is that it would do as much damage as the correct Toto counter. So like if you land the counter, how it does like 99% of your health, it would do about that much. If you have it fully charged. However, I think there would also be something really cool that you could do is if you feint the charge, you'll immediately shoot out a divergent fist instead, which will stun them, and then whatever charge you have will immediately launch out, but it's from where you're standing instead of sending you forward. So you'd hit the divergent fist, it would stick them in place because they'd be like stunned, not expecting it, and then it would kind of be like a grab style move, which would allow you to immediately guaranteed land the maximum black flash of whatever charge you had at the time. But I also feel like that the divergent fist feint should be blockable just to make it a little more balanced. But that would be my overall idea. I feel like that'd be super cool. The G. I think he is deserving of a G move. Yuji needs this. Yuji needs, just please give Yuji some love. We haven't seen any love for Yuji. He's still cut to Sukuna, even though he doesn't need to be anymore. So I would really like this kid split, but G would be Soul Dismantle. I don't have the fully ironed out thoughts on how it would work, but my assumption is it would maybe... I would like it to disrupt something to do with the enemy, because obviously the main point of Soul Dismantle was to disrupt. Obviously it would be a close range move, but my thought would be that you go in and you hit them, and if you hit them with a Soul Dismantle, maybe it immediately puts one of their moves at random on cooldown or something like that. Obviously Soul Dismantle would have a long cooldown itself, but something to disrupt the opponent. Like maybe it stops their regen entirely. That includes from bursting. So in gank fights, this would be a very, very viable move if you manage to awaken as Yuji during a gank fight, because bursting would no longer heal them, right? Something to disrupt the opponent. I feel like that would be really helpful. And the special would stay as feint, by the way. I know I didn't mention that, but the special I believe would stay as feint. And last but not least, I think some form of variant, maybe 3+R, so vicious clawing and then you feint it, or maybe you hit R and then you hit vicious clawing, needs to be simple domain. Yuji, someone in this damn game needs simple domain. Someone needs something to protect them against domains other than adaptation, other than a domain themselves. Because I feel like being able to pull out that domain, you could still fight, obviously, but just while in there, the sure hit wouldn't affect you. So maybe you'd need to pre-fire it for Gojo. Like if you saw the domain expansion come out, you could send out simple domain and you would protect yourself in time. But I feel like someone needs simple domain. Someone deserves to have simple domain. And I feel like Yuji's the perfect fit because he needs things like that. And maybe that variant could even fit into his base kit, although his base kit is way too early to have that. He should have it somewhere. I firmly believe that. But my original concept for Yuji was you would awaken into Shibuya form. So maximum black flash would be in Shibuya form, and then a couple other moves. I could not figure out for the life of me what the other move should be, and that's why I scrapped the Shibuya form. But then G would be some form of attack that would awaken you, much like Mahito. Probably, obviously, another black flash, but it would be some other form of black flash that would awaken you, kind of the same way as Mahito. And if you landed Super Awakening, you would enter your Super Awakening, where you would get increased health, increased regeneration because he has RCT. And on top of that, you would gain basically all the moves I just stated except maximum black flash you would gain. except I think maximum Black Flash would be changed out for something called Black Flash Chain, where it's a guaranteed Black Flash Chain, kind of like a cutscene move, where it just does insane damage, kind of like domain expansion damage. Because obviously, like, you have Toto's counter, which does a crazy amount, but it would be a dash move that would land 4 different Black Flashes, all like kind of like cutscene style. So you'd like 1, flip over them, 2, go to the side, 3, and you just absolutely mix them, and then boom, health bar vanished, right? And obviously for Shibuya form, maximum would be, you know, weakened, but I think that would be really nice. I just couldn't iron it out myself, but I still wanted to show the proof of concept on how it could kind of be. But yeah, that was kind of the brunt of my idea for Yuji. I feel like Yuji deserves more love, and I feel like that would be really nice for myself and other Yuji fans to have that kind of scenario going on, where you would finally be able to use more of Yuji's kit, and he also wouldn't be same old, and just like every other Battlegrounds game where you sit down and you turn into Sukuna, because that's not how it should be anymore. Back in the day it made sense, but not anymore. Next on our list, the one, the only Sukuna. This one is a little bit harder to tackle because I had to make the full kit, but it's pretty good if you ask me. So first of all, his one, guess what, would be Dismantle. Current Dismantle, just weaker. But it would be Current Dismantle, including the aerial variant. I think that would be good. Nothing too special there, I'll be completely honest. Same with the special. The special would just be Cleave. I don't really have any variant ideas for it. But I feel like having Cleave, you know, just as the move would make sense. Maybe there could be a speciality with Cleave where you could do a Black Flash after the Cleave. So you could grab Cleave and then Black Flash if you hit it the right time. Like maybe you would grab Cleave and then they would stay there and then you'd go for a punch. And if you hit R again at the right time, it would Black Flash. I feel like that might be good because personally, I believe Sukuna needs a Black Flash after his gauntlet and he hit a bunch. So I would love to see a Sukuna Black Flash. Next on the docket would be Sukuna's 2, which would be called Stomping. It would be similar to in episode, I think it was 4 or 5, when he fought the first Finger Bear. But my assumption for the move is in base form, you would dash forward, grab them by the face, slam them on the ground, and then you would stomp down on them like 2 separate times and then probably kick them away, or the second stomp would just send them flying. And that would be it. Pretty simple. Maybe there would be an aerial variant too, where if you were in the air, you would use it and you would skyrocket straight up, and wherever your mouse was aiming is where you would go. Like maybe you would skyrocket up and then you would teleport to where your mouse was aiming, and it'd be like a fast movement. Because even in base kit, Sukuna was pretty fast. I feel like that's not a super overpowered speed move. Like you'd be able to tell if they went to the sky. My assumption is the aerial variant would be blockable and the ground variant would not, or the opposite way around. And you would just have to dodge the aerial variant, but it would probably be a pretty easy dodge. Next, his 3 would be Spiderweb. If you don't know, Sukuna has a Cleave variant called Spiderweb, where he puts his hand on the ground and it shoots out like a spiderweb of Cleave on mostly not real, like, or not living objects. So it's a little bit more easy to use for him. And it's meant to be used on the ground. Obviously, like I just said. But it's get used on the ground and it mainly damages the floor, but I also feel like it could be beneficial for damaging players as well. It could be like an AoE move. It shoots out that circle of spiderweb around you, and after it procs, it hits and stuns whoever's around you, but it is blockable, I'd say. But it will also destroy the environment below you. Same thing with Stomping, I forgot to mention. I would like Stomping to have the power to break down to the subway. So if you're above the subway and you use Stomping, it would maybe crush you all the way down. I feel like that would be really nice. It'd be nice to have a move like that for Sukuna, because I feel like him and environmental changes kind of go hand in hand. Like he's always breaking shit and always moving the fight around. So I feel like he would work really well for that. And last on his list would be Heavy Slam, where I think it would just be like a really like big wind up, kind of like Toto's Brute Force. But my assumption is it would be a backhand that would send them flying upwards. And if you landed it, it would just send them crazy far. But it would send them diagonally upwards instead of just straight back. My assumption as well is if you were able to land that move, which would not be an easy thing to land, you would have to combo into it successfully. You would be able to immediately go into the aerial variant of stomping, and if you used it and hovered your mouse over them, it would leap straight to them and it would stomp on their head, send them into the ground, and then you would do the finishing of stomping. I feel like that would be really nice. I don't know about you guys, but that's a Sukuna move if I've ever heard of a Sukuna move. So I would really like to see that. But that's kind of it for Sukuna's base kit. I don't know what his awakening would be called. Maybe it would just be called some honored one, the dishonored one, maybe the disgraceful one. But in awakened form, his melee would change to the regular Sukuna melee. And it would just be the slashes as per current. His one would change to strong dismantle. Now, I don't necessarily think it should be the Heian era Sukuna strong dismantle, but I definitely feel like it should be a better form of dismantle. My assumption is that the one version, not the one version, the ground version the regular version would instead shoot, like, you know how the current Sukuna, his aerial version, sends out the one big slash that deals a bunch of damage? I think that would be his ground version, and the aerial version, if you jumped and used it, you would teleport to whoever your current opponent or whoever you were aiming at, kind of like, you know, the mouse aiming system. But you would teleport right onto them, and then you would hold out your hand and you would do like a barrage of dismantle. Blockable or not blockable, I don't know or care for that information right now. That's up for the balancing team to find out if this video ever gets seen. But it would be that variant. You blast away their health like that. Kind of similar to when Sukuna was fighting Maharaga in the episode in the anime, and he had Maharaga and he just kind of pinned him down with slashes. I feel like it would work kind of the same way. So you jump, you'd like warp over to their position, and you just send a barrage of dismantle at them. I feel like that would be a better use of dismantle for the awakening, because I feel like that's quote unquote like a scarier version of dismantle. And it kind of shows that Sukuna has reached a higher strength. Maybe the awakening could be called 15 fingers, actually. Just like an increase in your finger count. I feel like that could work too. Your 2 would just be Furnace or Fuga. I wouldn't expect it to change at all from where it is. I would like the animation that happens with Heian Sukuna, but I wouldn't expect much. I would expect it to be the exact same as current. Or maybe the current would be a variant. So obviously I'll get into it later, but if you had Binding Vowed version of Fuga, it would be the current version. And if you used Fuga regularly, it would be single target damage only. But don't worry, the Binding Vow part is coming up, and man, that part's gonna be good. Trust. 3 would be Rush, literally just the current move. I don't think that needs to change. And 4 would be Malevolent Shrine. Also doesn't need to change. But your special, so R, I feel like that one could change quite a bit. We could either get something called Cleave Combo, where I feel like you'd cleave, maybe land a couple cleaves and like a dismantle or 2 and maybe a couple punches. And it would be like a grab move like we have currently. Or I think it could be called Binding Vow. And how it would work is you'd hit R, and either A, it would be random, B, you would hit R, then you would hit a move. Or you would hold R, then you would hit 2 move keys in a row. And maybe it would lock off the first move you hit for an increased output on the second move you hit. So it would increase the strength of one of your moves, but it would lock off the other move, right? So that's kind of how I think it would work, or maybe some other form, but I feel like making Binding Vows Sukuna's Awakened special makes the most sense, as Sukuna uses Binding Vows a lot. Not having him using Binding Vows in some way, shape, or form just doesn't really make as much sense to me. Obviously, I understand Binding Vows is currently a part of the mini game, but I feel like it would be more correct for Binding Vows to be, at least in main game, for it to be like this. So maybe you would, like, let's say you locked off, you held R, then you hit Fuga, and you use Strong Dismantle, so you boosted your Strong Dismantle. Maybe instead, both variants would become unblockable, right? Let's say they were both blockable in this sense. Both variants would become unblockable. Your ground variant would shoot 2 big slashes instead of 1 big slash. And the aerial variant, maybe you would do the barrage of slashes, and then you would send them upwards somehow, and then hit them down to the ground as like a mini rush, basically. So it would upgrade your moves. It would basically give your moves variants with the Binding Vows. I feel like that's the most interesting way to do Sukuna, because him and Binding Vows are literally perfect. That's how he runs his kits. He loves his binding vows. But other than that, I do have a couple other ideas. You could have Kamatoke as a move for probably Awakened Sukuna, obviously. But my assumption is it would, instead of working like the current Kamatoke on Hei and Sukuna, because that's really overpowered, you would hold R and you would, or not R, what am I saying? You would hold whatever button it was put on. Maybe that would be R, maybe a special would be Kamatoke. And it would work like Max Elephant, except it would come out faster, it would come out like much faster, but it would have less damage, right? So it would just be like, you'd hold it and then you'd instantly do a lightning strike, boom, right? And it just did good damage, unblockable, but obviously I would assume it did less damage than the current Max Elephant, because why would it do as much as Max Elephant? You know what I mean? And last but not least, I think you could maybe have Hollow Wicker Basket as a variant. I think that would make him too strong. I'm more just spitting this out because if you watch my 10 Shadows video, which I'm assuming most people that are watching this one probably have seen that one, you know I like spitting out just everything. Even if it's a little overpowered, I do like to kind of spit out everything. Even if it's a little bloated, I do like just putting these things in. I feel like that's the most interesting way to do it, because maybe at least one thing will be picked up instead of none of it. Quick pause from editing me. I did want to say that the Hollow Wicker Basket variant would use your domain. So if you tried to open your, like if you did a domain clash, so you open your domain at the same time as someone else, you would no longer be able to use Hollow Wicker Basket. So you'd have to be smart about it. And Yuji's simple domain would put maximum Black Flash on cooldown. The Binding Vows, I know it would bloat the moveset, maybe, because there would be a lot of different things you could do with it, but oh my god, it would be so cool. It would be so cool, and I would love to have that as a capability, because Sukuna, the way he fights is my personal favorite in the series. I like how he fights with Binding Vows, and I like his technique, so I would really enjoy seeing his Binding Vows be put to use in-game. But Hollow Wicker Basket would be nice. My assumption is it would lock your arms so you wouldn't be able to fight at all, unlike Simple Domain, that I highlighted for Yuji. But you would be completely protected from the domain, and maybe you would need more than one knockdown to you know, to lose Hollow Wicker Basket. But my assumption, basically the difference between Simple Domain and Hollow Wicker Basket is Hollow Wicker Basket, you wouldn't have a limited range of movement, but you couldn't attack, right? So you could dash and you could try to avoid, but that's all you could do. Versus Simple Domain, you would have a limited range that you could move around in. Like, it wouldn't be necessarily big, but you could fight back. That would be the benefit of Simple Domain, is you would cancel out what you were going against, but you would only be able to do it so far, right? And you'd be able to fight back. Versus Hollow Wicker Basket would be focusing on evasion, right? And that's it. So Hollow Wicker Basket would probably do very well against Mahito's domain, is my assumption, because you could just focus on continuing to evade, and if he got close to you, it didn't really matter. While Simple Domain, I feel like, would work best, obviously, against Gojo or Sukuna. But that's my thoughts on Sukuna and Yuji finally being split in JJS. I feel like this is a thing that we really need. I think it's a thing that we've all wanted, I would say. I know me and my friends all want it. We're tired of them being the same kit, because they're the same kit in every game. But that's about it for this video, if I'm completely honest. I did ramble really hard this video, and frankly, I don't know if what I all entirely said made sense. But at the end of the day, I hope you guys do enjoy. And I am planning on making more JJS content. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I think I'm going to try to make 1 to 2 one-kit characters next. I was thinking of trying to do the current list I have. I have a big list of characters that I want to make / rework. Which are Straw Doll, which is Nobara, Ratio, which is, or maybe we just call him Businessman, which is Nanami, Curse Child, which is Yuta, Curse Manipulator, which is Geto, Sorcerer Killer, pretty obvious, that's Toji, and Curse Speech. I also would like to see Cursed Corpse, which is Panda. So I'm willing to try to make movesets for just about anybody in the show. So if anybody has like certain requests on like, oh, I really want to see this guy, or oh, I really want to see that guy, absolutely. Just put it in the comments and I'll do my best to make that next. I am only planning on doing a JJS video either every 1 to 2 weeks. But that's I feel like that's pretty fair and balanced. I do upload twice a week, but I want to keep variety on my channel. So I'll probably end up doing 1 a week, and then I'll do whatever other kind of thing I'm in the mood for on the other day for that week. So maybe JJS on Wednesday, next thing on Friday, vice versa, who knows. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.